So my name is Ferreira. I'm the Deputy Director in Child Protection and Sexuality Education Program Manager for the Cayman Islands Red Cross.
Okay. What motivated you to support this type of event?
Well, the Cayman Islands Red Cross has actually been doing work in the area of sex education and sexuality education for almost 20 years now. We've done a lot of work when it comes to bringing a comprehensive sex education to Cayman. Our Together We Can HIV and AIDS peer education program was the first comprehensive sexuality education program that was introduced on island back in 2002. So it was sort of a natural fit for us to be able to, support any of these initiatives that are, related to sexuality, but also, empowerment and talking about safety and other things.
Cool. And what are some key messages you'd like to get across to Cayman Islands residents about discussing sexuality?
Well, I think it's the idea that we don't talk about sexuality as due to the fear that we might have when it comes to introducing, especially young people or children and whatnot to these concepts. It's because we tend to think that sexuality is something that you sort of stumble upon or sometime around adolescence. And the reality is that we're all born sexual beings. There's an appropriate way to discuss sex and sexuality at every stage of life. And while we talk about sex education as something that we do for pregnancy or disease prevention, the reality is that sex and sexuality education is also about protection, child protection, but it's also about this healthy relationship that children grow up with as they become adolescents and then as they become adults. The healthy relationship that they have to their bodies, but also to the ideas that they have around love and sex and all of that, so that they can become more fulfilled and happier adults when it comes to exploring that aspect of their sexuality later on in life. So I think it's about understanding that sexuality is not a bad thing. Sexuality is not only determined to sexual orientation. It's a very holistic thing, and that it's important for us to start speaking about this so that we can raise people who are going to become better equipped to not only understand themselves better, but respect boundaries, to create a culture of consent, all of these things that we talk about. So I'm hoping that this is just another sort of step in the ladder to getting to that point.
Yeah, how can we encourage more discussion, more healthy discussion around sexuality in Cayman?
So I think it starts really in terms of, I think for parents it's always something that's very difficult because we may not necessarily have had the model as to how to do it, Oftentimes people talk about the talk when it comes to having that talk about sex, and and we don't even really discuss sexual orientation and other things, right? So I think it's just there are a lot of different organizations, the Red Cross, the Family Resource Center, who do this work. And it's important to know that even for us as individuals, because we don't have the background in this, that we need to be able to learn things about it, to be able to know not only where we stand, but also the messages that we want to pass on. I think we need to recognize that this idea of, sexuality and sex education, again, from the aspect of protection, but also as the building blocks that it needs to be, So I think it's really about sort of the empowerment, and it is a cultural shift for us. For a lot of us, it was like, have sex before marriage and you're gonna burn. It's just it was really, don't do that or you'll die, and it's just so we've never really done that. So it is an aspect of our culture that we need to address, and it's a shift that is necessary, because what we want to do is to ensure that our young people and our adults and even our senior citizens, that everyone has a better sort of understanding and feels more comfortable and confident when it comes to their sexuality.